Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Refined Lad. I'm here at the beach today. Basically, the content of this video is going to be explaining more of a spiritual side of things. So for those of you who have differing opinions or views, if you're not into that, then you can skip this video. Make sure that you guys watch the other ones. But my main objective today is to talk about intention, and particular how our words shape what is around us. So the very last time that I talked about this, something interesting happened when I talked about energy and how like mainstream media or how we're spoon-fed certain things through programs, how frequencies affect us. Last time I got very limited on my content, what could and could not be shared. And so what I really want to dig in today is this concept of intent. Today I had a client at the clinic who is well known for always complaining about things, okay? Why this is important? When we complain about certain things in our life, we are quite literally speaking, right? Because we know that words have frequency. Now, whether you want to argue if God created the world or not, or a Big Bang, historically, from the context of Christianity, God created the universe. God created the universe out of frequency. So with his words, he spoke forth frequency. Now, with the frequency, what he sent out is still creating galaxies, right? He's still creating planets. He's still doing these certain things with just his words. The very breath, that ruach, okay? That life force, that energy. Now, I want to talk about this woman specifically because she's had some chronic issues with inflammation. I understand that, but every time that I see her, it's always a new issue. It's always a new situation. It's always a new setting. And she is so concerned about what is happening next that she literally will speak the next illness that comes on her, okay? I want you guys to understand there is so much power in your words. Your tongue is that pathway to determine what should and should not be said. Okay, so the power of life and death are in your tongue. This is why I'm a huge proponent, and it's something that I do struggle with, but I try not to swear all the time. I try not to say negative things because I'm putting out that frequency. If you're familiar with Dr. Emoto's work when it comes to water molecules and crystals, I believe he was a Japanese doctor that studied the concept of frequency and how just over time certain words, certain phrases would cause water to be formed, as well as he took jars of rice and either sowed love into them every day, where he said, "You're growing, I care for you, you're loved." The other rice jar that he had on the side was actually negative words, right? There were cuss words, there were insults, they were putting people down, they were saying, "I hate you," multiple times a day. So I need you guys to understand that we have such a powerful intention behind our own words that we have got to be so careful about what we say, how we say it. Something that I've always gotten in the habit of, because we are held responsible for every word that comes out of our mouths. I want you guys to know that. I think, is this something that needs to be said in this moment? Is this something that's beneficial to, like, the person, right? The subject. Is this something that is going to be encouraging or uplifting to this person? I mean, obviously, like, if you're at work and you have to say, "Hey, hand me this needs to be done." Okay, those are directions. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about very specifically stating when you're having a conversation with somebody, if what you have to say is edifying, if what you have to say is encouraging. Now, this is super important, okay? Because for those of you who don't believe in energy, I'm sorry to break it to you, but we're energetic beings. I want you to do the most elementary thing right now. You're going to take your two hands together, okay? And you're not going to touch them. I want you to feel just between that right now. You will feel a heat source. Remember, because our bodies are heat, okay? So we have an energetic field. We have meridians. We have lines. We have chakras, okay? These things make up who we are, whether people want to believe it or not. So when you speak something, you're literally converting that to frequency, right? When you speak something, you're making that a reality. The last 2 weeks, I've had some things happen. And I'm going to explain them very briefly. 2 times in the past couple weekends, I've literally had a thought and something has happened. Okay, I've talked about this before. Even our thoughts radiate energy. Our thoughts transmit energy. So I'm not saying to be super OCD and keep all your thoughts to yourself 24/7. Be like, oh my gosh, a negative thought, something bad's going to happen. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is your brain and your mind is a garden. You have to cultivate it how you want it. So if you want positive and negative things in your life, you are going to take that into effect. You're going to look at how that plays a factor into your life, and you are either going to let that control you, or you are going to be in control of it. Like, something really funny to me was I had school 2 weekends ago, and I thought to myself, you know what would make this weekend really good? I want a car show to happen. Now, mind you, I haven't seen anything about a car show. I haven't seen anything subconsciously. I hadn't heard anything about a car show. I didn't hear anything about anything that was going on. Literally walking downtown on lunch, and what do I see? I'm asking what's going on. Somebody says, like a vintage car show, and I'm like, okay, there's some weight to this, all right? Now, the other thing that I want to talk to you guys about, with energy comes intent. And there's two sides to this. I deal a lot with spiritual aspects that most people don't know about, okay? I very much believe that sorcery, alchemy, witchcraft, 100% real. I myself do not associate with it. I have a very well-rounded knowledge of it. I've had dealings with it before and in the past. Now, that being said, you have to decide what kind of people you are spending your time with. I've talked about energy transference before, okay? Sometimes people have well-intentioned things for us that are supposed to be positive, but that positivity can culminate into something else. Now, I'm going to give you an example, right? Let's say relationships are the biggest arena that I have found for this particular category. Let's say you have somebody that you have your eye on and you want them. You physically will it into an existence because that's what they teach is manifestation. Now, I don't agree with that, and I'm going to tell you why. When we, of our own accord as human beings, take our own human will, our mind, will, emotions, and we feel that into a prayer or a mantra or some sort of intention towards somebody else, we are unknowingly tapping into an ethereal realm that is beyond us, and we are enlisting the help of forces that we have no idea we are dealing with. So I am so careful. Because of the way that I live my life, everything is subject to God, okay? I spend countless times praying, meditating, sitting, learning, reading, doing the things that I need to do. Because the one thing that I don't want to be responsible for is forcing my will into something that is not meant for me down the road. And the danger of this simply is when I make a soulish intent, whether it is a form of meditation, prayer, if you're Wiccan, using some form of a spell or just setting that intent. Buddhism, again, you know, these things, these different religions, these different spiritualities, these different principles that are being used. I am unknowingly tapping into something that is beyond me. And it may seem like I'm getting what I wanted, but you have to understand that everything comes with a price. When you make an energy transfer, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. What this means is that that energy is going to be directed in some way, and the energy has to be replenished. If you watched Once Upon a Time, the show that used to be on about like fairy tales and stuff, Rumpelstiltskin always said magic comes with a price. And I want you guys to really heed this because I've worked now with 2 or 3 individuals that were in a relationship or that are still in a relationship that they're not meant to be in because they willed it of their own accord, right? Or somebody on the other end willed it. This is how we end up with people that are not meant for us. This is how we end up with people that are secretly being controlled because in reality, I am wrapping something around you in this ethereal realm and subjecting your soul to me and you have no awareness of it. And the side effects can be oppression, depression, suicidal thoughts, negativity, overcoming feelings of like lust or addiction. I mean, these things are very real. So why I'm coming on here today is, one, to talk about the power of our words, but two, the intention behind what we do. We should always ask ourselves what we're doing, why we're doing it, and in the method that we are using to do it. And falling back on, is this something that is beneficial to the person, or is this beneficial to me? Because I subject myself to what's up here. Not everybody does that. And we are playing with fire when we are unknowingly recruiting entities, and these things are beyond our own understanding. Not necessarily are like those of you viewing, but are in the context of the average person. So please be careful. Please set the right intentions. And if you have any doubts, if you have a religion or spirituality, go to that, right? And sincerely ask yourself if what you are doing is correct. That being said, there is a price to pay. And if a person is knowingly doing it, there's even more of a retribution that's put on that person that has done this, right? So be aware that the majority of the things that you see in this world are spiritual. We fight a spiritual battle, we don't fight a physical one. It's so obscure to me to think that this is just the external reality of who we are and there's nothing else here. I regret to inform you, there's much more here that the average eye doesn't see. So if you liked the video, I'm going to be posting one very soon. As a follow-up to this, make sure you like the video, comment if you have any questions, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. As always, stay frosty.